Hello, and welcome back to my public life as an American nerd. My name is Eddie, and I have a very special guest. She is known as a horror fanatic, a Groucho enthusiast, a supervillain. She also is runs a business, small business, which is a nostalgic pop culture and horror collectible shop. She also on Instagram goes by the name of Phantasm 420,
Yep.
and her name is Amanda Gonzales. How are you doing, Amanda?
I'm good, thank you. And just a heads up, everybody, the 420 is my birthday.
that
That comes up a lot.
Either way, that's fine. I believe we live in California. Anything is okay. Yeah. I have a quick question. Um, a Groucho enthusiast. Are you
hmm
referring to Groucho Marx?
Groucho Marx, yes, and the Marx Brothers. I'm a huge
Ah,
Marx Brothers fan.
really? What's your favorite movie?
A Night at the Opera,
Oh,
hands
okay.
down, A Night at the Opera.
Oh, really? Okay. Um, I would have to say Deck Suit. I thought you would say that as well. Um,
I mean, they're all so good. My first real exposure was like the Coconuts, that first one, the really early one, straight from vaudeville to the screen. But A Night at the Opera, I think it's because the steam room or the what's the room when everybody comes in and he just keeps inviting everybody into the room.
um, I
I
know.
but anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, so that and then of course the reflection like scene that takes place. So
Oh, the reflection scene. Yeah,
hmm
yeah. He they were incredible back then. Between the Stooges and the Marx Brothers, which you like the Marx Brothers a lot better, I assume.
what how did
Between the Three Stooges and the Marx
oh
Brothers.
I mean the Stooges were great when I was growing up because we didn't have as many options as we do now. So Channel 5, the Three Stooges would be on, maybe the Little Rascals, and
Oh,
so
Channel 5.
yeah, so I definitely liked them then. But if I could get any exposure to the Marx Brothers, totally that would be it. Mostly my mainstay was I Love Lucy, but yeah.
Channel 5 was KTLA, and on the weekends they used to have a the guy's name was Tom Hatton, I believe,
Yes,
and he
yes.
had a show every Sunday or Saturday, and it would
hmm
feature either Bob Hope and what's the other guys? Bing Crosby shows, or it featured the Marx Brothers or the Three Stooges, or the Little Rascals. Uh,
hmm
every weekend they had something better. TV today lost its nostalgia. Uh, Back then we had things like uh, the School of Rock, or not School of Rock. What is it
Schoolhouse
called?
Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. There you go.
Schoolhouse
Yeah,
Rock.
yeah. And we had things to remember as far as um, actual TV stations that we'd sit there and watch on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, can you imagine trying to have teenagers these days watch like after school specials?
What they watch today is it just amazes me. It's Mike. I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. They watch
Oh,
YouTube,
fun.
just YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube.
Yes. My
They watch
13-year-old, yes.
they watch other people play with toys, or other people watch something instead of them watching it themselves, or playing with that toy themselves, or playing the video game themselves. They'd rather
Yeah.
watch. It's bizarre. Yeah.
I don't much understand it myself. Or like when the whole Minecraft craze started, and I was like, you guys went backwards. This is what we had in the 80s. What are you playing? So I
Um.
don't understand it.
Yeah. The graphic wise, I think Minecraft is like far behind time, but
Yeah.
what you learn from it, the actual building, it's actually it teaches them how to do graphics and stuff on their own without and creating their own games, but
Right.
it lost a lot of the look element because it looks so ancient.
It does. It does. But I mean,
Yeah.
I can appreciate that they do learn those, especially nowadays, like really valuable lessons and everything from it. Kind of like, Oregon Trail. We learned that you needed like the jerky instead of other perishable foods.
Now you go on these you go to these either cons or expos or events, and
Mhm.
that's how um, since the 90s is the small business that you own.
It
Now,
is.
now you go to all these events. What's your favorite type of events? The horror events or the pop culture events?
Oh, oh, honestly, probably my heart is in horror, but it really kind of is even because I love to talk about like pop culture and stuff. The way that I design my booth when you walk in, people have compared it to like a pop culture museum, and
Mhm.
that's heavily inspired by the show the Facts of Life after Edna's edibles burned down, and they built a little like kitschy boutique. And
Yeah,
so that's what inspires me to set that up. So I also equally love pop culture. But at the same time, like I just did a convention in Arizona last month, and the horror crowd and the horror community is just like unparalleled. There's so many
that
genres
was
and
Monster Palooza, right?
fandoms. That was Mad Monster.
Man Monster. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, but yeah, the horror community, there's just like a camaraderie there, and I don't know, kinship that
yeah.
I totally dig.
Yeah, the whole that whole spooky community is a lot different. They seem to gather together with these either pop-ups or events, small events, and the
Hmm.
same people you'd see at these events as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
and but the pop culture now, I'm looking at your jacket. You also do an event, a show that is in LA. I think it goes down to San Diego, I believe, or Orange County, Santa Ana, and
Ah, yes.
there's it's called Pins and Patches, and it's
Patches and
also
pins.
Patches and
Hmm.
Pins. Sorry, Patches and Pins, and it's also it goes to New York and San Francisco as well.
New York, San Francisco. He's got Arizona show lined up, like Texas. Yeah, so he's nationwide.
Yeah, there's also another vendor that we have coming to Scare Fair. We're throwing an event called Scare Fair on October 30th in Victorville at the fairgrounds, and since the 90s is going to be there as well. But there's another vendor from Las Vegas, Artistic Flavor. Yeah,
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
they're gonna be there as well. Now they come out to Patches and Pins, and
Yes,
as well now or Patches and Pins. It amazes me how many different types of patches and pins people buy, and they're small.
yes.
They range from what, like $8 to probably $15, just
Oh
depending.
well, like my boyfriend he's got this incredible vest he's been working on. He's got over 100 pins on it. But the most expensive one is a pin on pin 5 inches, and that one was like 45.
Okay,
So
yeah.
yeah, there's some, and we're not even like real hardcore collectors. There's some pins that are upwards of 100, but we're novelty collectors. So, but the
Yeah.
average price is like $10.
Well, I'm familiar with Disney pins, and
Oh,
I'm kind of that kind of a nerd that would hang out at Disneyland in the past. I had um, uh, passes to Disney, and I would wait in the morning, either Thursday morning or Tuesday morning, and would go in at 8 o'clock before they open at 9 o'clock, and go to shop and buy exclusive pins. And I would
I
buy those pins plus some extras to sell. Now I was also on in pin collecting and trading. I do want to show you
yes.
this is something I this is a
Oh,
pin board that I
nice.
have, and those are nothing but see they're Chip and Dale pins. Now I have like
How cool.
now I have like five of these boards, but I used to collect as far as getting pins like from Japan as well. Like
Oh, wow.
these are pins from Japan. See that? And I used to make trades.
How cool is that? Oh,
I
that's
used I
awesome.
used to make trades. They have a pin collecting uh, site, back when we just only had the internet and we didn't have apps. And I used to traded them online from Japan, Paris, and other places, Orlando, Florida as well. We used to trade pins back and forth. And that's how I got a lot of these Japanese type pins for Chip and Dale. And I started collecting Chip and Dale. I have a bunch of Roger Rabbit and
Oh,
Jessica Rabbit. I have a lot of these. I actually wear, when I go to Disney, I wear a lanyard, which is my nerdy thing, but it's filled with Roger Rabbit pins too. Here's some Jessica Rabbit.
oh, that's awesome. I love it. I
Oh,
that's one of my favorite movies. Not just of the like just of all time. Roger
that
Rabbit is up there.
yeah, that's up there for me because I love Roger Rabbit,
Oh,
which
that's
is which is
awesome.
very funny because I like Jessica Rabbit as far as pins and T-shirts and tattoos.
Oh, no
Uh,
way. Dope.
yeah. Let me see.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh, nice.
See.
How cool is that? Oh, that's
Is that
awesome.
her head right there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have it's her portrait and then also a profile pic. And what's funny is my wife's name is Jessica, so on the bottom of it it says "Love Jessica" with her lips.
That's so
So I
cool.
have my wife's name on my body, which yeah, but um, but what's funny is I like Roger Rabbit so much, but everything that I buy Jessica Rabbit, and she has more of the pins than Roger Rabbit does. But there's some moving pins that have Roger Rabbit where his head would move or his body would move. Those type of pins,
Hmm.
movable ones. Yeah. Um, I also have some pins of Disneyland too, uh, and they're ride pins. And I bought a collection of pins when the hotel opened, and it's what Guardian of the Galaxy has the ride.
Hmm.
It was the hotel used for the Twilight Zone ride,
Hmm.
and they had pins of Goofy, and he was like the doorman.
Yes. Oh,
And those pins, I have a huge collection of those pins, and they're worth a lot because the ride's gone.
yes.
Yeah, and so
That's
when I
such a bummer. Ugh.
um I like that ride a lot. Uh the whole Twilight Zone thing when you're going up and down, but the Guardian
Hmm.
of the Galaxy ride is pretty freaking cool.
I
Yeah.
haven't been. I'm not really a like a Marvel enthusiast, but I do enjoy a good action flick. So as a matter of fact, I'm gonna go see the most recent what I can't get enough of King Shark. So I'm gonna go watch that actually by myself. I live down the street from an AMC, so I'm gonna go do that after we're done.
Now you're talking about the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, we talked a couple of days ago, and now you enjoy going to the theater much more than seeing it at home.
Yeah, I just think that there's some movies that they are deserving of that cinematic experience. Now, maybe dramas and stuff don't necessarily, like a documentary or something, doesn't necessarily need to be seen in the theater. But for example, what was it? Kong Godzilla, Mortal Kombat, Suicide Squad. Like, those are the kind of movies that it's like, I want the full, like, everything blasting me in the face. Wow, that sounded bad. Popcorn, popcorn experience.
Now, when
You guys know what I mean.
no, the specific movies that you enjoy watching, did you and now you watched Suicide Squad already, right?
Yeah, here at home, yeah.
And you enjoyed it over the first one.
I only saw parts of the first one. I didn't watch the whole thing. Um, I I don't know, somewhere after Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like Will Smith just really lost me. And also Jared Leto is forever in my mind Jordan Catalano from My So-Called Life.
Oh
And I
yeah,
really just, for me, a teenager of the 90s, he's just typecast as that. And I cannot take him seriously in anything else. So even though he looked cool as the Joker, and apparently, spoiler alert, who doesn't know, he's like Bruce the Shark and barely in the movie. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I missed anything.
No, you didn't. when I first saw Suicide Squad, there's some things that I really enjoyed about that movie, but Suicide Squad 2, there's things that I was looking forward to. The cast was
Mhm.
so big, and I was looking forward to Pete Davidson, his character. And now I don't know if I should spoil this, but
Spoiler alert, cover your ears if you don't want to know.
how many seconds did he play on that film? I mean, it was like no, it's more than seconds. It was minutes, but still, I was just like amazed. I was like, oh my god, did they just blow his head off, his face off? And yeah, yeah. Watching the first 5 minutes of that movie was just like devastating to me because everybody I wanted to see was gone.
Nathan Fillion, freaking oh my god, everybody, the cast of Slither, and that was the thing too, is that I'm a very big James Gunn fan because I love Slither. So I
Yeah,
feel like he finally got his Grant monster with
yeah.
the mind control and everybody becoming the one thing. So it's, yeah, I can't wait to go right now and then watch it by myself. My boyfriend's freaking awesome, but I'm the movie nerd and he's not. So I want to enjoy the experience. So sometimes I prefer to go by
Do
myself.
you have to wear your mask in the theater?
In between like eating and drinking your concessions, whatever. Oh,
And
you know
how?
what's really cool?
What's that?
Um, so I live in Hollywood. I live in Hollywood, and this AMC is a 21 and over. So
Oh, so it has alcohol.
it has alcohol, but I can buy my popcorn and a beer at the concession. I don't have to go to like a separate bar or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
It's just all right there. So
that's cool.
I love that.
Yeah. Also, no kids is a plus. Um,
I
no
It's
kid.
kind of
Yeah,
nice. I think I firmly believe I have three kids myself, 23, 22, and 13. And I raised them all to respect the movie going experience, be courteous and mindful of others in the theater. And unfortunately,
yeah.
not all little ones are given that same kind of guidance.
I always try to keep uh bringing in my kids at a certain age because I felt that they're
Mm-hmm,
too young, and
mm-hmm.
the seats would get them where there were too um either they were too uncomfortable sitting in a chair for that long of a period, or they were really just couldn't focus on the movie. And so I was very cautious about taking my kids at a certain age, but
Yeah,
they've always been courteous to others as well.
right, right. And then like I've been very fortunate. We have, I don't know, like within an hour to drive-ins. So I take my kiddos to the drive-in and then they can kind of get restless inside the car without bothering anybody else.
Yeah, I live up in Victorville. This is driving right here at Barstow, and
Nice.
they get more of that experience going to the drive-in than they do going into a theater. I like that whole drive-in experience though.
Heck yeah.
I love that drive-in experience. I wish they would do it more. There's more opening up, because I just enjoy that. I mean, there's movies I saw in my past that I only remember seeing them in a drive-in, and
Right.
that was such a cool thing, getting the kids all together or getting the family together and going to a drive-in. So
Yeah.
fun.
And then back then, like when you and I were kids, it would be the speaker box on the window.
Yep, speaker
Yeah,
box on the window.
not tuning your radio.
Yeah, yeah, the speaker box. That also brings back a lot of memories to me because I used to go to the La Mirada swap meet with my parents,
Hmm.
and during the day, as you're walking around, as everybody's closing up, they play music on the speaker boxes, and there's specific songs that I hear today that gives me memories of back then of listening to those songs on the speaker box. It's very
That's so
weird.
cool.
It's very weird, but at least it gives me some memories of those boxes.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
what was the first movie that you went and saw without your parents at a theater?
Oh, the first one I went to see without my parents at the theater. Da, 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 da. Oh, was it that one? I think so. Um, when I was a teen, I think I must have been about 14. Some friends and I went to go see Bebe's Kids.
Oh, baby. Baby. That was a cartoon, wasn't it? It was a cartoon.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
voice Robin Harris, based
Animated.
on
Yeah.
Robin Harris's
Yeah.
comedy act. So
How funny.
that
Um,
one and like toys and stuff. So yeah, Robin Williams.
oh, I do remember that. Yes, toys.
Hmm.
Was LL Cool J, though, was that his first movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, mine goes back further in the 80s. Um, it was a movie with Jane Fonda, uh, Lily Tomlin, and Dolly Parton.
Ah,
My mom dropped us off as me and my sister, and we took one of our friends each, and they dropped us off 9 to 5.
heck yes. Heck
Yeah,
yes.
it's weird that that was the movie that I first went to the theater to watch, but yeah, 9 to 5 from with Dolly Parton.
What a movie. That one's still such a classic. And if anybody in the audience hasn't seen it, you totally got to sit down and watch it.
I heard something about them remaking it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, I
I,
heard
I had,
somewhere.
huh.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
What?
I love that Deadpool 2 opened with the musical
Oh
cue.
yeah,
The
yeah,
9 to 5.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
awesome.
Um, what was the first rated R movie that you went and saw by yourself?
Hmm. Oh, via flirting with the guy at the Man Theater in Glendale, Pulp Fiction.
Oh, really? Yeah, great
Yeah,
movie. Great movie.
yeah.
I saw that theater too. That's a great movie.
It changed the way I watched movies. I was a teenager of the 90s. So my dad actually was the first one to take me to watch it. And he stressed the importance of a soundtrack to a movie and
Oh
the
yeah,
vital part that it plays. And then, Pulp Fiction is iconic, not just for like the movie itself, but that
but for the
soundtrack.
music, yes, I love that
Yeah,
soundtrack. Yeah.
yeah.
Back in the 80s when I was growing up, there was no really good soundtrack to movies. They just shoot any music in there. But
Mhm.
the person that had the most songs and soundtracks was Kenny Loggins, and he
Yes.
did a song to
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack, yes, Caddyshack, Top Gun, Footloose, and he was the one guy that would always get that going in every movie. So,
Hmm.
and I saw him about 15 years ago. He opened for our corporate meeting, and he did all those songs, and it was like, oh my god, Key Loggins is playing. It was crazy. Um,
That
my
sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, but no, but a lot of people, the younger crowd, was like, "Who the fuck is Kenny Loggins?"
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it almost seemed like a cover band doing his songs, but it's actually him. Yeah.
Oh
Um,
my God.
my thing, my parents, my dad, he dropped us at in City of Industry, Pointing Hills. There was this little pizza place called PJ Pizzazz. It was like an arcade, and
Hmm.
I was like 16 years old. He dropped off me and my friends there, but across the street was the AMC. So we went. Oh, it was way before 16. I was a lot younger, like maybe 12. And so we ran across the street to the theater, and we snuck in to see Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
I just watched that like 2 nights ago. That's
I,
another iconic soundtrack. That one
I
in Valley Girl.
yeah,
Yes.
that soundtrack is incredible.
Yes.
But I can recite that movie, the entire movie, only because I've watched it a trillion times. But that was the first radar movie that I actually stuck into, and is that movie. So many great actors came out of that movie. I
Oh,
mean,
I wish that Sean Penn would recreate Spicoli.
he did. They did a like a podcast of the movie last year when during COVID, and there's a bunch of actors that got together and they redid the movie, but like a soundtrack version, They didn't do the acting, they didn't film it, but it was them recreating it through sound.
Oh
it
my
was it
gosh.
was really cool. And Sean Penn agreed to do it. There's several actors that were in it. Nicholas Cage, he was in that movie.
Yeah, he was. He
He
was
had it.
still Nicholas Coppola.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Nicholas Coppola. Yeah, he
Hmm.
the winner of the name Nicholas Coppola. There's a bunch of actors that came out of that movie as well. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, that one is up there for me with like Valley Girl, another iconic film
yeah, Valley
of
Girl
the
was really good.
80s. Oh my gosh.
Well,
And then
that's
Nicholas,
me. I
hmm
came from the '80s. Uh,
what a time to be a kid. Like I was a kid in the 80s and a teen in the 90s.
yeah,
Those were great times.
yeah. There's so many memories, and not just that. Is that a lot of what they create today? They go back to the '80s, like when they redid, when they did Stranger Things, they go back to that era, and it's so
Hmm.
cool to see that. And other movies have done that too, and other shows, American Horror Story. They go back. They have a movie called 1984 actually, and there's
Hmm.
another Fear Street. They go back. A lot of them go back to that time because it's such an awesome
Yeah.
time. To have Steven Spielberg actually directing, making movies that are very iconic. Um, Now they do things in CGI, but I felt it wasn't the same. Like,
No, that's totally true. I think that's part of why I love the horror genre, especially the campy cult classics that we had before, um, because of the practical effects and the
yeah.
ingenuity that like came along with them. Like I just watched on Tubi Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, that's great. that, yeah, yeah. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes was one of those ones that I would say that's a stupid movie when I was a kid, but I still watch it.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, great
Hmm.
movie. My favorite from the '80s of horror was Evil Dead.
Oh.
Yeah, when I'd watch that, I actually laughed. I thought it was supposed to be a comedy, and but the remake of it is really scary. Have you seen the remake?
Yeah, that one was intense. That
Yeah,
was
very
intense.
intense. There's nothing funny about that one.
Yeah.
And the subject matter of that one too was very very intense. But the original one was like really zany and wild and what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. And then like in the 80s, and I'm sure this is something that you can relate with also. I've told people I remember when Freddy Krueger the first year that he was like a Halloween costume.
Yeah,
Because some people aren't aware that there was a time before Freddy Krueger. So
yeah,
I remember that first year that he was, because I mean he Freddy Krueger scared the crap out of me. Obviously I love him now. He's like my favorite slasher now next to say Victor Crowley. But like Freddy's Nightmares or like the 900 number that you could call, those commercials were so scary.
yeah, yeah. What's funny now though is my children. I have a 13-year-old. I have a 18-year-old. Oh no, I have an 18-year-old, 15-year-old, 13-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 11-year-old. Yeah, we have a blended family. We have five.
Right on, right on.
We have a blended family, and my 15-year-old wanted to watch Nightmare on Elm Street, and she wanted to watch the whole series. And a lot of the series, we say if you're gonna watch one, watch from the beginning, and then we'll continue watching them. They like looked at Nightmare on Elm Street. They were like, "What the hell is this? There's nothing scary about it." The
Mm-hmm.
Freddy Krueger was like a clown, just like comedically walking around with his one-liner puns.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't get scared. They weren't scared at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. What my eldest two didn't get into horror until they were teenagers. And so, I was showing my daughter all of these movies that had scared and intimidated me. New Nightmare got her. She liked New Nightmare. That was
Yeah,
creepy. But so then I showed her Hellraiser 1 and 2 and she shut the hell up. Like those ones were the ones that got her like, "Oh, okay, that's freaky." So,
my favorite is Halloween. Michael
yeah.
Myers. Michael Myers. That was my favorite. He's my favorite uh, horror character. Was,
Hmm.
yeah, Mike
Well,
Myers.
mine is the tall man because Phantasm,
Oh
hence
wow.
my name, Phantasm 420. And like my boyfriend is 10 years younger than myself. So the first time I showed him Phantasm, he had the same reaction as your 15-year-old. Like, well, what's scary? Why was it scary? I don't understand. Like, what's scary? I'm like, and then the bodies, and then the thing, like, and just nothing. He just didn't
Well,
get it.
what's fun? What's so different about today is that they have that. So many movies have gone past, and so many things that they don't get that scare element anymore.
Hmm.
And there's nothing that they haven't seen already. So
Yeah.
so when they see a scary movie, it's got to have the blood, guts, and stuff like that. Like the which I love, the Terrifier. Ter-
Oh,
I love that movie, but it also had that. It had to have all the effects and the
to
blood
be
and everything
to be effective
to
these
be
days,
effective.
yes.
Yeah. I can't wait to the next one. That the next one's supposed to be out in October. Terrifier 2,
Mm.
and that one's supposed to be have a higher budget. And have you ever met David Horton?
Thornton,
Yeah,
I
Thornton.
I have not. I actually am not a fan of that movie. I could because of like kind of for the reasons that you were saying. It's a little over the top.
Mhm.
So I just kind of it was a little too much for me. And that might make me like old fashioned or maybe even prudish, but
Right.
yeah, I just like a movie that really terrified me was something like The Strangers,
Oh yeah, yeah.
something like that, where like I can't escape, or like The Collector. I had to walk away from that one early because I always think of when I go into horror movies like, well, how would I get out of this? That's why I think Freddy Krueger is scary because you can't escape him. I get a plane and get away from Jason. But
Yeah.
oh, and I wanted to show you. You were talking about Michael Myers. Let's see if we can see this. And then he opens up.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about your pins, all the different pins that you have. That is cool. Where'd you get that?
That one is from my friend Ryan, aka Lonely Loomis. He specializes in like the moving pins. So he has one of like Jamie Lloyd dressed as a clown, and she has the like the knife. Or
Yeah.
no, the scissors. She has the scissors, and then like Chucky, he's the one that has a knife and stuff. So that's his like specialty. Oh, he has a Tom Atkins one from Halloween 3. So it's
My
like mask Tom Atkins.
my son's favorite is Sam from Trick or Treat. So anything
Yes.
that he gets a hold of with Sam, he loves.
Let's
Okay, you have
see.
Sam. Yep, there it
Bam.
is. Yeah, that's without the pumpkin head, right?
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of pumpkins, yesterday was Friday the 13th, and
Hmm.
tattoo shops always have some tattoo shops always have some type of special, either a tattoo for $31 or something that they have in their books that's a small tattoo. So I decided to go and hand out flyers at the tattoo shop because there's like over 100 people waiting for a few hours to get their
Nice.
tattoos done. And while I was waiting, I signed up for my tattoo, but I went through their book and I was going to get like maybe a skull or a Grim Reaper, and they said, no, you can do whatever you want. And I said, you serious? That
Nice.
do whatever you want? They said, yeah, as long as it's 2 inches by 2 inches. And I said, okay. So when they came back to me and said they could do it, they said, do you want it bigger? I said, hell yeah, I want it bigger. But the detail in it surprised me. He spent a lot of time doing it, and I was very surprised for the price that I paid for this. I got the scare for pumpkin.
So dope. Oh, I love it.
But the detail work is just awesome.
Right on.
Yeah,
That is
so
so
I sat
cool.
there for like I think we are there for 6 hours, passing out flyers to people and stuff like that. Um, but when they said they could do whatever you want, I had the my on my phone the Scarecrow pumpkin. Now I've been walking around, or I've been talking to people online for the longest time, and they
Hmm.
never saw me. And when I go to events, hi, how you doing? I'm Eddie with Scarecrow. And they're like, who? Because they're used to seeing the pumpkin.
Right.
Yeah, they're used to talking to the pumpkin. So that I
Hmm.
decided to get that. I thought that was quite
That,
appropriate.
that's so cool. Imagine that, like when you have grandkids and they're gonna see the pumpkin. Oh,
Yeah,
this was when I like that's so good, the
yeah,
beginning of something.
yeah.
Also, you should send me some flyers.
Yes. Oh, where's your next event?
My next event, oh, is a toy event. That's where my heart lies with my fellow toy dealers. Um, Primarily, I'd say I'm like a toy dealer myself. So we're going to be in Ontario at the IE Outdoor Toy Exchange.
Okay,
A
what
lot of
day?
fun.
What day's that? Because I don't live that far from Ontario.
August 21st from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Because toy shows are always those early morning hours.
Oh, perfect. Because there's a lot of events I want to go to that specific day. There's the spooky nights, and that's a nighttime, but
Mhm.
they have to set up at 1, and that's in Rancho Cucamonga at the Heritage. And then there's Ghouls Night Out, which is in LA. So I'll be passing right through that area, and if I leave earlier, I could drop them off to you. But
Yeah.
John Massari put together this. I thought this was so cool,
Oh, how cool.
and he gives them out at all of his events. It's so cool. I think he signed one for me. Yeah, I have a signed one. But the let me show some stuff. The show the Scare Fur tickets. If you happen to see me, I will be selling tickets too. These are the actual tickets.
Nice.
And what you do is you exchange the ticket for a wristband.
Nice. Those are sweet. I like that.
So
So many events these days don't have actual
yeah,
tickets, and that's something I miss.
yeah. So I'm gonna be at an event on the 4th. It's Killer Carnival, and I'll have a booth there and we'll be selling tickets as well. And then these are the actual flyers. So
Nice.
yeah, so I'll give you a pack of them as well. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It's gonna be a fun event. There's so many things involved with our expo that we like. It's actually an expo because we have comic book artists. There's gonna be 10 comic book artists there. There's gonna be celebrities there signing. There's Joe Bob Briggs, Lisa Wilcox from Nightmare on Elm Street, Walter Phelan from House of a
He's
Thousand
Dr.
Corpses,
Satan.
Dr. Satan, yes.
Hmm.
Um, John Massari, he's the composer of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So many different people, and then we're gonna have a live band play at night, a cover band of Rob Zombie cover band, and they look and act and sound just like Rob
Right
Zombie.
on.
We're gonna have our psychotic Carnival of Thrills. It's gonna be a haunt. We're gonna have that as well. But during the day, starting at 12 o'clock, we're gonna have an actual viewing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show with
Hell yes.
audience participation.
Don't
Got the
dream it.
lips?
Be it.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever been to a audience participation show where
My
they?
first Rocky Horror Picture Show was at the Rialto Theater. Speaking of
Oh
Nightmare on
yeah,
Elm Street, the
yeah.
Rialto Theater, South Pasadena, at a slumber party when I was 13.
Oh, that's
And
so
I have
cool.
been a Transylvanian since that day. Absolutely.
You're probably like, why are these people getting up? Why are they in costume?
Like,
Yeah,
what's happening? Why is she in her pajamas with Mickey ears? Like, I
yeah.
didn't understand.
Yeah. So we're gonna have that, and then that's at 12 o'clock, and then 2:30 we're gonna have a costume cosplay contest. And Lisa Wilcox is gonna be the judge of that.
Right
So
on.
that's cool. And then we have the Taki Horror podcast show with the two girls from Universal, Pinna Palmer and uh, Grin Gabby, I believe. They're gonna host the show, and also they're going to do a Scream Queen contest as well
Nice.
during the show. And then at 5:30, the first band Road Work plays, and then the Rob Zombie band plays at 7:30. So it's a day of different events. I want so when people come, they're not just seeing the vendors or waiting in line to get an autograph, but there's also other things to do. So It's gonna be a
Right
lot.
on.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of
I
fun.
think it is. And then in an area where usually, and that was a big selling point also. You were very tenacious in recruiting me for the show. I
Oh,
appreciate that.
believe me, a lot of people said that. A lot of people said that. Yeah,
I'm not sure, and you're like, I think you want to reconsider. Like,
yeah, yeah. We're just
so
talking about who's the person that you want to come see.
who do I want to go see? Joe Bob Briggs, of course,
Yeah,
but then also Lisa Wilcox
right.
because she was at my first signing ever. So,
Yeah, yeah. That's what we just talked about as well. Yeah, a lot of people were like, I've never done a show before, and this is my first movie. Missy from the Manku Shop. She doesn't sell live ever. She sells online,
oh,
and I like to consider her an influencer, and
okay.
her and I have talked about that before. But she has never sat down and actually sold live, so that's something that she was going to be nervous about. But speaking to me, she said, "Yeah, I'll go."
Oh, right on.
But it took a while. Then there's
Mm-hmm.
some other people that have never vendored before that want to get their stuff out there and want to and have sold only online or through an app, and they're excited to be there as well. Several of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's good. I just felt this is a good opportunity, especially for artists. Um, and then the spooky community. Luckily, I have a lot of support from them and the vendors. Yeah, there's going to be over almost 60 vendors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so and you're one of them. I
Indeed.
what I like vendors that have unique logos, um, some type of something to offer. Now your booth with the since 90 toys and creative marketing behind it. That's why I wanted you so bad there. Um, do you just
Thank
do
you.
90 toys? I seen some older ones.
Oh yeah, we had been talking about Channel 5 and like Tom Hatton and stuff. Um, so I even just sold or traded with another poster vendor a couple of Thunderbirds action
Oh
figures
yeah.
that were talking ones. So I traded those two for like a Psycho poster and a Glen or Glenda because I love Ed Wood as well. So,
Oh yeah. No.
but no, I like to keep like genuine 90s stuff in the booth, but I'm willing to just if it's cool and I think it'll make somebody happy and it's something that I'd be willing to have in my collection. That's one thing about my booth. I won't sell anything I wouldn't have in my personal collection. That way I can make somebody else just as passionate about it as I am. So,
No, there's one movie going back to Tom Hatton and Channel 5. There's one movie that sticks out in my mind, especially during the Halloween season. And this movie has Phyllis Diller, but she played a character. Do you know what it is?
mm-hmm.
The Mad Monster Party.
Mad Monster
That
Party.
is
That's
one of my
right.
favorites. That was before Tim Burton and his
Yes,
creation with animation, but it's like clay animation with the movement, the stop motion, uh,
exactly.
and that was just I love that movie. Love everything about it. I think
Yes,
isn't Boris Karloff's in it too, isn't he? I think he plays one of the characters as well. I think it's
yes. Oh my God, you're reminding me that like I haven't seen it in so long. Oh
I
my
played it for
gosh.
my kids and they're like, what the hell is this? I mean, come on, it's a Mad Monster Party. I don't like it. Yeah,
What's a Phyllis Diller? Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. That movie is just is part of my past, and I love watching it. I love anything when I see shirts of it or um, any type of toy that's related to it. I just would like that. That was just so awesome. Or
hmm
poster boards. We have in our living room we have art all over our house. I'm actually in my bedroom right now. This is part of my bedroom, but all over our walls we have some type of art, and we have it covered in art, horror art. We have comic book art, but in our living room we have Disney art, the whole wall of Disney art. But on the other wall we have these gigantic posters of movies, and we have Gone with the Wind, The
Nice.
Wizard of Oz. What's the other one? There's two other ones, but we're thinking about taking those out and putting nothing but horror.
That's cool.
The old horror ones. Yeah, same size, big posters, movie posters of horror. Being that that's a genre
I
that
mean,
we really enjoy.
yeah. And then it's nice also when you do have the luxury of like having so much that you can kind of switch it out sometimes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I have my classic, you know, Psycho poster right here, but the one I just traded the figures for, I had never seen it. And it is like Alfred Hitchcock, and he's holding a newspaper open, and it's got a whole
Oh,
advert on the
cool.
paper, and all the stars are on the different parts, and I had never seen it before. So that's the one that I just got. Exactly, exactly. So I'm going to switch this one out probably for that one.
Psycho's another one of those movies that was phenomenally done. I mean, that was so excellent. And a lot of it has to do with your psyche, your mind. And
Hmm.
there was nothing uh, graphic or horror about that movie. I mean, they showed like the stabbing. You never saw him actually stab. I mean, actually
Yeah,
on top of her or killing her. And at the end, they showed the mom and the chair turn around. Now that freaked me out as a kid. I was like, wow, But a kid today would look at it
yeah,
and say, okay, it's a skeleton, big deal. But
yeah, and yeah.
yeah, but I think that was one of those movies that was very well done, very well. That's why Alfred Hitchcock is who he is. Um, but that's a movie that I just love watching.
Oh yeah.
They did the remake of Vince Vaughn.
Uh-huh.
Did you watch that?
I tried.
Oh, you
I tried. I
yeah.
tried.
Was very
I don't.
was very unusual about that movie. They had Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
very.
just.
um,
I don't know if the original is just too near and dear to my heart. I was watching as I was getting ready to join you, the Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins as Hitch, like that
oh
movie.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Um,
just I tried, and then Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates. I just couldn't. I can't know him from Swingers and then try to place him as Norman Bates.
yeah,
So
the,
yeah.
yeah. The only thing I liked about the remake of that movie was if you take scene for scene, it was done
Hmm.
exactly the same. Every part
Yeah.
of that movie was scene for scene done exactly the same. That's the only thing I liked about it. It was they took a classical movie and they were able to do it scene for scene, but the characters, I mean, the actors and actresses they picked to do that movie is kind of weird and bizarre.
It was bizarre casting. Bizarre casting.
Yeah, I mean, they had Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers in it. It was
Yeah, it's just not.
yeah, yeah. We talked about the Terrifier as well. I think he's going to be one of those iconic characters that you're going to see in the future become one of the past, like a Freddy Krueger or a Mike Myers or a Chucky. I think he's going to be the next iconic horror figure, and that's
Hmm. I can really see that his popularity is just like skyrocketing even
yeah,
more.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, and he just played. He was the reason his character came out. He played in a Halloween movie, not Halloween, but a
All
movie.
Hallows Eve.
Yeah, All Hallows Eve. Yeah, he played a very small part in that movie. There was different
Hmm.
people doing the killings, and he was one of those characters. Yeah, that stood out.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think his silent um smile is creepy as fuck. And
It's unnerving.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But when you meet the real David Thornton, he is a total sweetheart and real nice guy. And it's like seeing the two of them. You played him, yeah, very different. Yeah,
Yeah, I think part of what it is that because when you mentioned that, it made me think of like how unnerving it is. Um, I'm not into stuff that like could really happen. Like Freddy Krueger couldn't like probably really happen, like
right.
Jason Voorhees and all that. But I think that somebody could serial killer wise go the route of Art the Clown, and I can't deal with like stuff that could maybe possibly really happen. So
Are you into that also? Collecting serial killer type of um, clothing or pins or anything like that?
no, I'm not into that kind of like fandom, like Charles Manson
Yeah,
idolatry kind of thing. Nah, I can't do it. I don't know if maybe you remember this. When they used to air on Channel 5, like annually, it seemed, an interview with Charles Manson from prison when he had already caught
yeah,
the,
yeah. And acting
and
all
I was like,
weird.
yeah, and it's like they would show that every year the same way they would show Elvis's 68 special. And it was just like,
Yeah,
it was intimidating. And then you wonder nowadays, like, wow, that would never happen nowadays, I don't think. But I don't know, we're just inundated with
living
it. And
living some of those through some of those killings that were happening, like the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez.
uh,
I actually remember having to lock our windows and lock our doors, and he was in the
yes,
next town close to us, and actually, people were scared. People were really,
yes,
really scared of him coming into a house or him sneaking into a window, um,
yes,
and seeing all that unfold on the news. The news was a lot different then back then too. uh,
yeah,
More of an informative tool, I would say,
yes,
instead of just an entertainment type tool like they use today. I mean, they totally centralize things that to the point where it's over and over and over repetitively, and it gets them ratings. Yeah,
exactly. It's like it's turning into not the book The Running Man, there's not the short story The Running Man, but The Running Man, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It's kind of like what we're living in right now with a little bit of 1984, like, and maybe some idiocracy. But yeah, exactly. It was a different experience back then. And it was
um,
terrifying to think that that person could come in your house next. Oof.
I saw a Ronald Reagan video when he was a president, and the video was him speaking. And I heard this speech, and he was talking about in his speech how if we're not careful today, if we're not taking care of the things that we need to take care of in the future, this is what the future is going to be like. He was exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right. That's exactly what's going on today. Is the control over uh, the minority compared to the majority and stuff like that. Just the whole switch of even. I think he even talked about some of the culture counseling as well.
Mm-hmm.
This, I I'm not a big fan of culture canceling at all. Like with the comedians that we grew up with. If you listen to George Carlin, there's no way a comedian would get away with that today. Not at
Oh
all.
yeah. Remember how scandalous Andrew Dice Clay was?
Yeah, yeah. Oh my
What
god.
what a scandal. Oh my God. Poor Pee
And
Wee Herman got canceled for years. Paul Rubens was canceled for years and
he is
people
one
don't
of my
know.
favorite actors. He's one of my
Oh
favorites.
yeah.
He played
Uh,
that Pee Wee Herman to the T, and yeah, you're right. He got canceled for years. Um,
yeah, and what a lot of people don't realize is that Pee Wee, the character, was created when he was a groundling. That was for
yeah,
adults. That
yeah,
was spoofing a parody of kids programming. And
yeah,
then he got pigeonholed into actually doing kids programming, but that was not his original intention. And then
yeah,
Tim Burton's the one that put him in a movie again finally, and he was, Mr. Cobblepot. So,
yeah. He's done so many movies even after that that you wouldn't even
mhm.
recognize him in. Yeah, he's a great actor. I mean, I think if I think they're coming out with the Pee Wee Herman show again.
That's awesome.
I think they talked about that. Um, Talking about Pee Wee Herman for our pop culture event, which coming, the Pop Culture Expo, which is coming up in February 12th, 2022. Um, I'm trying to get the Pee Wee Herman bike, the actual bike. Yeah.
Wow. It's at the Hollywood Museum right now. Last I saw it.
Well, they also tour it. The guys that do um the Ghostbusters car and the Knight Rider car, and they have a
Right
lot of
on.
other cars too. Yeah. So
That's
that's what.
so cool.
And they said, "What do you want? The mystery van, the 18 van, Pee Wee Herman bike?" I said, "Pee Wee Herman's bike." I
Pee Wee
want the,
Herman's bike.
yeah,
Yes. If you can't get that, bring in the A team and I will dress as B.A. Baracus.
yeah, the 18, the 18. I I was a huge fan of the 18 back then in the 80s. But you watch some of those shows today, like Chips. It's so bizarre the way they used to direct those things. I mean, they were very campy. They're just very yeah.
Oh
The
man,
18.
I worked at the Mad Monster Halloween store that we had 2 years ago in Studio City on Ventura, and I was so stoked when the building owner came in to tour somebody that was potentially buying the building because it was Doc from the Love Boat. But all the kids that
Oh
worked with
man.
me are in like their 20s and stuff, so I'm like, I'm the only one geeking out, like, oh my god, it's Doc from that. They're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, generation gap much?
Doc, yeah. The Love Boat. I don't think anybody would even know who the Love Boat, what the Love Boat was, or what it was about, or anything today, unless you met somebody of my age or my, uh, yeah. The Love Boat was one of those things. But even before the Love Boat, they had this show called Love American Style. And that was kind of a cross between coming from the 70s and going to the 80s. And
Yeah.
they did a lot of stuff on that show that would not pass today.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Oh, random, like, so to me, the greatest TV theme song of all time has to be from The Greatest American Hero. I don't remember any episodes, but I know that
The
theme song
song.
word for
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, the song. I hear the song every once in a while. Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember the episodes. Some episodes. That was one show that I did watch. Just before that, no, they did that show before they did MacGyver. Yeah, MacGyver. No, you
Who was
mentioned
totally
your
unaffected.
podcast. You mentioned your podcast. Uh, where can someone listen to your podcast?
Well, let's see. I have one that's coming up. It's going to be Attack of the Midnight Feature. That one's launching on October 1st. Otherwise, you can catch me on the Mad Monster live stream or YouTube channel. So it's the Mad
Awesome.
Monster YouTube channel and Mad Monster, the website and convention. And they have an expo coming up too, but we're a lot of fun. Join us.
Okay. And what social medias are you on, and how can people find you in since the 90s?
I am exclusively on Instagram because Facebook just terrifies me. Um, there's people that I love that I can't stand on Facebook. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well put.
Um, but so on Instagram, my personal account, which also happens to be on my business cards because new business owner. I'm only actually next month I'll be a year, but
Oh,
at Phantasm 420. Again, it's my birthday, Phantasm 420, or since it's like underscore since underscore the 90s. I think there's another underscore at the end there too. But yeah, just since the 90s. And both of those on Instagram. Come by the booth, hang out, don't buy anything, just enjoy the environment. I mean, it's nice if you buy something, but
yes.
I really just like bringing the nostalgia to everybody. And the booth looks like my house looks kind of like you can see. The hell I have back here, I have like the Joker, Darth Maul, Psycho, a Luchador, and like a little bit of everything. So that's what my booth looks like. So come check it out.
Look at that, that's my bedroom. My part of the bedroom.
Nice.
This first shelf is nothing but Rocket from Guardian of the Galaxy. Up there, I have nothing but Boba Fett. There's actually toys up there from 1980s that I have never opened. And
Oh, that's so hard.
I think that one's a 1991 Boba Fett. And then I have a DC, um, some Batman, Joker, and stuff right there. So yeah,
Oh man.
that's my little collection, and I have another toy room just filled with pops and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
This house, when you look at it, I mean, it can actually be a museum of art and just toys never opened, or My wife collects a Nightmare. I mean, yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas, and there's just tons of stuff. It is stuff.
Uh,
Yes.
Yeah, she'll have to come check out my booth. I'll actually pull them because I want to have stuff specifically available at your show since it's a
Right.
Halloween, expo and everything. So I have like say Coin Slot Bank's 1998 Sega issued from Japan Nightmare Before
Oh,
Christmas.
geez. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm legit.
My event, Scare Fair, that we're gonna have up here in Victorville. It terrifies me because I'm gonna be actually working it, and my wife is gonna be walking around with the credit card. So
There we
yeah,
go.
so she'll be all over the place. And there's a few booths that I definitely want to go to, and George is just one of them. Uh, so you're gonna be in Ontario at what show next week? The
Yes.
21st. What
The
show is it?
IE Outdoor Toy Exchange.
Okay.
IE
And
Outdoor Toy Exchange.
okay, so look for them there, and then look for them at Scare Fair on the October 30th, up in Victorville at the San Bernardino Fairgrounds. Amanda, it's great
Okay.
having you. Great interviewing you.
Thank you.
I had a good time. Thank you very
Right
much.
on. Oh, thank you. I always enjoy talking nerd.
Hey, yeah, yeah. That's well, my public life as an American nerd.
There we go.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. See you later.
Bye.